For 180 million years, the great reptilian dynasties have known only a world of profound, enduring warmth. An ancient, planetary greenhouse, powered by a sun that seemed eternal. This was the baseline of existence, the unquestioned reality. A world of giants, built on a foundation of endless sunlight and botanical plenty. A world that had no reason to believe it would ever end. It was the final, perfect moment of the Mesozoic era. Now, let us journey back and witness this lost world for ourselves. Here, 6 million years ago, the air itself feels heavy, thick with humidity and the scent of damp earth and blooming, primitive flowers. This is the Hell Creek Formation, not as a collection of rock and bone, but as a living, breathing wetland. Vast floodplains are carpeted in a sea of ferns, interrupted by dense forests of conifers, cycads, and broadleaf trees. Life operates on a scale that defies the modern imagination. A vast herd of Edmontosaurus, each the size of a city bus, moves through the clearings. But, like a slow-motion river of flesh, they are the great harvesters of this world. Their complex batteries of teeth grinding through tons of vegetation. Converting sunlight stored in leaves into protein. Their passage is the engine of the ecosystem. In the undergrowth, you can catch a glimpse of the world to come. Small, furred mammals, like Didelphodon, scurry through the leaf litter. Pfeifers hunting for insects and fallen fruit, living in the shadows of the giants. Above, the sky is not empty. A colossal Quetzalcoatlus, with a wingspan rivaling a small airplane. It soars on thermal updrafts, its immense shadow passing over the herd below. It is a silent hunter, scanning the landscape not for the titans, but for their vulnerable young. Every niche is filled. Every part of this intricate biological machine is interconnected. And watching from the tree line is the machine's regulator. It is not a monster of fiction, but an animal perfectly honed by its environment. Its gaze is fixed on the Edmontosaurus herd. Not with malice, but with the patient calculus of a predator. Here, the fossil record is unambiguous. Showing us through bite marks and bone beds that this was the central drama of this world. It was the eternal contest between the planet's most powerful hunter and its most formidable prey. It is a drama that has played out day after day for millennia. On this, the last golden afternoon, nothing seems different. From the depths of interplanetary space, it arrives. A 6-mile-wide mountain of rock and metal, traveling 20 times faster than a rifle bullet. For the creatures of Hell Creek, the first sign is not a sound, but a light. Brighter than 1,000 suns, searing the sky with an unholy white. Seconds later, the ground begins to heave. A low-frequency earthquake that throws even the mighty Tyrannosaurus from its feet. But these are merely the overture. The true extinction mechanism is not the initial blast, but the planet-altering chemistry it unleashes. The sky itself is about to become the killer. As the asteroid strikes the shallow sea of the Yucatan Peninsula, Oiget displace a volume of the Earth's crust 100 times its own mass. Trillions of tons of rock are vaporized and thrown above the atmosphere on ballistic trajectories. As this superheated ejecta rains back down across the globe, also the friction of re-entry turns the sky into a planetary-scale broiler. The air temperature spikes by hundreds of degrees, igniting the world's forests. Yet here, the geologic record is terrifyingly clear. We find a thin, global stratum of soot. Evidence of a world on fire. But even these global firestorms are secondary. The true agent of darkness comes from the unique geology of the impact site. The Yucatan was rich in sulfur-bearing minerals. The impactor's unimaginable energy vaporized this sulfur and blasted it into the stratosphere. There, it combined with water vapor to form a vast, reflective haze of sulfuric acid aerosols. This was the masterstroke of the extinction. A planetary sunshade, locking into place high above the clouds. To any observer on the ground, the effect would have been apocalyptic. The sky, first scorched by re-entering debris, would not return to blue. Instead, over the next hours and days, it would curdle into a uniform, suffocating darkness. Frulons, as the global layers of soot and aerosols merged. The sun, the engine of life for the entire Mesozoic, was effectively switched off. Photosynthesis, the single most important chemical reaction on Earth, ceased. Across the planet, at the same moment. The process that converts sunlight into energy stopped. You are now standing in a world bathed in a perpetual, freezing twilight. The vibrant green of the fern prairies begins to fade to a sickly brown. Leaves, starved of light, begin to wilt and drop from the trees. And for the first time in millions of years, a new sensation begins to creep into the world. A profound and penetrating cold. The great greenhouse of the Cretaceous has been broken. The heat that sustained the giants is now radiating away into space, unreplenished. The impact winter has begun. The world has transformed from a limitless feast into a dying pantry. The clock is now ticking. The darkness is absolute and unyielding. Weeks stretch into months, and the sun remains a forgotten memory. On the surface of the planet, the first link in the great chain of life has been shattered. Without light, there is no growth. The once lush flora of the Cretaceous becomes a global graveyard of skeletal trees and rotting ferns. In the oceans, the microscopic plankton, the foundation of all marine life, die off in their trillions, turning the waters into a sterile soup. This is what paleontologists call a trophic cascade. An ecological collapse that starts at the bottom and avalanches its way to the very top. For the great herbivores, the world is now an empty lager. A herd of triceratops, their immense bodies demanding a constant, massive intake of calories, are now driven by a desperate, gnawing hunger. They strip bark from dead trees and root through the freezing mud for any last remnant of nutrition. But it is not enough. The cold, a relentless animal they have never known, saps their strength. You can see the evidence of their starvation etched in the fossil record. Grytin bones that show signs of arrested growth and severe stress. One by one, the titans of the plains, the products of millions of years of evolutionary success, lie down and die. Initially, for the carnivores, this is a time of grisly opportunity. The landscape is littered with the weak and the dying. But this feast is a mirage, a final, fleeting surplus before the bankruptcy. The Tyrannosaurus Rex, the undisputed king of this world, now stalks a realm of ghosts. Its prey is vanishing. The thunderous herds of Edmontosaurus are gone, replaced by frozen carcasses. The hunt, the central drama of its existence, is over. Now, there is only scavenging, and soon, there is nothing. The apex predator, an animal that required hundreds of pounds of meat every day, is now just another starving creature in a dead world. Its massive size, once its greatest asset, is now its fatal liability. This is how a world ends. Not with a bang, which was merely the overture. Or what? With a long, drawn-out, and silent whimper. The chain of death is mercilessly efficient. As the plants die, the herbivores starve. As the herbivores vanish, the carnivores follow. The extinction event ripples through every ecosystem on the planet. Yet, a wave of silent, freezing death. The great dinosaurs, which had dominated the Earth for over 150 million years, are brought to their knees by an enemy they cannot fight. Not a rival predator, but the absence of light and the presence of a killing, alien cold. The long night could not last forever. Lacking the energy to keep it aloft in the cold, dead air, began to fall. Slowly, gravitationally, the planet's atmosphere started to cleanse itself. After years of perpetual twilight, a patch of sky thins. A single, weak ray of sunlight touches the frozen ground. Then another. The thaw begins. As the thunder's warmth returns to the Earth's surface. But it illuminates a world scrubbed clean of its former masters. The giants are gone, their bones now settling into the mud that will become their tombstones. The world that emerges is a strange, alien landscape. The first plants to recover are the most tenacious. Here, the fossil record shows us a fern spike. A layer of rock dominated by fern spores, indicating that vast continents were blanketed in a monotonous, low-lying carpet of green. The complex floral ecosystems of the Cretaceous were gone, replaced by a world of disaster opportunists. So who survived the killing frost? It was not the biggest or the strongest. The victors of this catastrophe were the small, the versatile, and the unassuming. Creatures that could hide from the initial thermal blast by burrowing underground. Animals with generalist diets, able to survive on the detritus of the dead world. Seeds, roots, insects, and carrion was a key advantage when specific food sources vanished. life that had low energy requirements and could reproduce quickly. And from a burrow into the pale light of this new dawn, nay, emerges the inheritor of the earth. A small, shrew-like mammal. For 100 million years, its ancestors had lived a furtive existence in the shadows of the dinosaurs. Now, the dinosaurs are gone. The world, and all its empty ecological leeches, is theirs for the taking. The immense catastrophe for the age of reptiles was the single greatest opportunity for the age of mammals. The silence of the dead Mesozoic world would soon be filled with the sounds of our own ancestors, diversifying and spreading to cross a planet they had just inherited. The killing frost recedes into geological memory. It stands as a stark reminder of how swiftly a world can change, how a stable dynasty can be shattered by a random cosmic event. The story of life is one of resilience, but also of profound fragility.